Any thoughts on Rambo 5?
Well, a couple of things. There was talk for a long time. There were many ideas floating around, and I didn't like most of them. There was going to be a science fiction one in which he was against some alien. He was going to be a horse whisperer. He was going to be, I don't know, they sounded perhaps a stretch, and they couldn't, the production company, New ILLUMINATI, and couldn't come up with a concept that they and Sylvester were happy with. That said, we need to remember that Sylvester broke his neck filming The Expendables.
Yeah.
And the extraordinary documentary that's on the DVD of The Expendables shows literally the suffering that Sylvester went through to make that film as director, writer, and one of the action stars. And it shows the scene in which he broke his neck. He landed in a flip right here, and the physicians wanted to shut the movie down because he needed an operation. He needed a plate to be fused in here, and he said that if he did, the production would never get back up to speed because of the convalescence period. And basically, he took the chance to finish the film and then have the surgery. He was also working with a broken foot in many of the later scenes in the film. I mean, he got injured badly, and I myself had seen him injured in Rambo 3 filming. It's my feeling that these expendable movies, and this is just me, I have no idea if this is the case, but that by surrounding himself with major action figures, that he can minimize his own stunts. I mean, he can shoot and do all that, but the flying around and going through windows and all that he could minimize those stunts in an effort to avoid another serious injury. Now, Rambo is, a loner, so all right, you might put him with a team, and in fact, it might be interesting to have him working with a very young team, and he would be now 69, something like that. It might be interesting to play with that. The elderly, wise warrior, etc. But I don't hear much, but the sense I get is that this isn't going to happen. Now, never say never.
Yeah.
But I just have the feeling that the ending of the fourth film, where he arrived back in the United States wearing the same clothes that he wore in the first scene of First Blood, and then goes down the road to meet his father. Of course, in my scenario from the novel, this was a father who had beaten him. So whatever was going to go on down there, probably, would have. In the movies, this subplot doesn't exist. But in any case, it was a fitting end if that was going to be the end.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to RAMBOMANIA. So I guess we had the story all along. That was a piece from our first interview with Rambo creator David Morrell back in early August 2014. From the first time he was on the show. Welcome to episode 666. 666. Man, what a number. Number of the beast. This episode is titled Rambo versus the Illuminati. How do you all feel about Rambo's retirement? I want to know. Let me know in the comments below, and we can address it and maybe have you on the show. I wanted to do something special tonight, but time is definitely not on my side, as usual. So later on down the road, when we get to Rambo 5, the many what could have beens that we're going to explore, we're going to explore all of them. Just all of them. Just not tonight. However, we do have a sneak peek at some of my fan fiction from a talk I had with friend of the show, Mr. Michael Chapman regarding what I'd like to see from a final fifth film, a final Rambo film. And I promise you, when we get to Rambo 5 stuff, down the line, I will give you all of this in full disclosure. And I'm kind of mixed on this whole Rambo retirement thing. I can yarn pros and cons all night about it. And I probably will when we get to our Rambo 4 anniversary special on January 25th. That feels like a conspiracy in itself. But till then, please enjoy this third time rerun clip with Mike Chapman on Rambo 5, or Rambo versus the Illuminati, or shall I say, Rambo 5. The Ghosts of War, Rambo versus the Ghosts of War, not to be confused with Blood, the Ghosts of War, which is the Rambo prequel in development at Stephen Chang's office by some staff from the original First Blood 1982, the Free Share fan film at Master Shot Motion Pictures Incorporated. So, till then, till we get into this mystery, please enjoy this this clip from this wonderful talk we had with Michael Chapman, and we'll be back with more RAMBOMANIA and our signature guests for the beginning of this second volume of Season 4's Die for Nothing. We'll be back with David Morrell and Steve Davis. But for now, let's take a look at, some really cool ideas of what a Rambo 5 could look like. Did I say Steve Davis? I meant to say Andy Davis. Sorry, Andy. Sorry, my brain is pretty scrambled right now. So, enough with the scrambling and on to some really pretty cool stuff. Here you go. Sorry again. Roll that beautiful bean footage. I think Rambo deserves a better finish than just a caper,
How would you kill Rambo off?
How would I kill Rambo off?
Yeah.
Are you ready for this one? Okay. I would kill Rambo off. Okay, let's see.
On the toilet?
Like Elvis? Eating a hand sandwich? No. I would do it where Rambo's back in the U.S. and he has his ranch. Maybe his dad's passed on. Maybe he has Tomask come back from Pakistan or Afghanistan. Maybe working on his ranch. Rambo would be teaching archery and building, like hunting weapons, selling hunting weapons, living off the land completely. And then he would get some mail one day, maybe something from Sarah. I would have it open up with Rambo having a flashback to dream sequences from the Vietnam War, shot totally in point of view, in POV, so we could hear Rambo, but it's like a younger person running around, and we could see the reflections of the young Rambo look-alike in surfaces. And Rambo wakes up, and then he would go over to still in the POV shot, walking through the house, goes to the mirror, and then you get a look at all the scars, and Rambo versus the Ghost of War, kind of back to the haunting elements of the war, which it would deal a lot with coming full circle and bringing back all the other elements. So then Rambo would be on the ranch, and he would get some mail one day, and he would get this mail to go to Washington to one paid respects to Troutman, and we find out that Troutman maybe died in the 9/11 attacks. Who knows? But this big conspiracy would be unveiled, where he would come in contact with Caruso, and eventually be reunited with a dying Teasel. And Isaiah wrote this this awesome premise for a dying Teasel where Rambo would go to the hospital and Teasel would say there was something bigger going on, and they would solve their differences, and Teasel would pass the torch on to Rambo, saying like, I've had to look after my own for so long. He's like, now it's your time. So then we would find out that Rambo, Griggs would meet up with Rambo, Kirkwood Smith from Rambo 3. So Kirkwood would become introduced in, and he would say, okay, well, you know, we found out all these things that are going on, and essentially Rambo would receive a file from Kirkhill that was given to Kirkhill by a dying Murdoch who was killed off for being a whistleblower. So in a sense, in Rambo 2, when Rambo says, you know, find them or I'll find you, Murdoch makes good on his promise, and then Murdoch is killed for it. So it would be like a big whistleblowing, like a big New World Order conspiracy kind of thing. And then they would find out, you know, that Rambo's involved. And by the time Rambo gets home, they've already been to his ranch. And one of his archery students, like a little girl, is killed. And they kill Tomask, and they pretty much burn the whole place down. Rambo walks back into his barn, where some of his weapons have survived, but the little girl is hung from the rafters. But upon getting to his house, I would have a scene where one of the bad guys shoots Rambo through the window of his truck and grazes his head or causes damage to his head, and Rambo passes out, so they think Rambo's dead, so they leave. So Rambo wakes up, and he figures he doesn't have a lot of time. The police are coming. He knows he's going to be blamed. And he walks into the barn, and he sees the little girl hanging. And Rambo snaps. Completely just snaps. And his head is all cut open and stuff. So he rips apart his shirt, uses that as the headband, but to keep his head together. And then just goes on the lam. Grabs whatever he can, goes on the lam. And we would have the bad guys and the police after Rambo. And instead of killing the police, he would just maim them. Not exactly kill them, but take them down like that. But he would kill the bad guys. And in the end, I would have a great standoff where, Rambo gets to the head bad guy. And the bad guy's like, what are you going to do? Rambo's like, I'm gonna blow you to shreds. And then at the end there would be a great scene where maybe there was another kid. That guy, after everyone else is dead, that guy's alone. Rambo's after him, and then they're caught in the crossfire between all the police. And that guy has a little boy hostage and is gonna kill the little boy. And Rambo would be like, okay, I'm pretty sure I could disarm him because he's going to use the boy for coverage, right? He's not going to try to go for Rambo because they would just shoot them both. So I would have it in a scenario where Rambo fakes him out so the kid can get away. Rambo pushes away the kid, but at the same time he grabs the bad guy and the police just open fire. And bam, 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 bam. Rambo uses the guy as a human shield, but in the process, Rambo is killed, and then have him in his dying moment, reference to the First Blood book where his spirit, the astral projection side of it, leaves his body and goes to the beyond, which they talk a lot about that astral projection element in the First Blood novel. That's how I would do it. Yeah.
I gotcha. So he's he takes him down, grabs the boy, grabs him by the neck, and that's it. They all both.
Yeah.
Well, I gotcha.
So it'd be kind of like Rambo versus the Illuminati. That's how I would do it.
It's going to be hard for him to kill off his character because it's one of the most famous characters.
Yeah.